So we're told that the graph of y equals x squared was stretched by a factor of 2, okay, and it was reflected in the x-axis. Given that information, what do you know about this graph? Yeah. If it's stretched and reflected, which value does that represent in our equation? A. Okay, so we know that A is going to equal what? Negative, because it's reflected, and it's stretched by 2. So A is going to equal -2, okay? Now it says that the graph was then translated to a position where the vertex is not visible. We can't see the vertex here, right? We need to come up with the quadratic relation, the equation, in vertex form. Okay, but do we know the vertex? Just by looking at the screenshot? No. So we don't know H and we don't know K. But is there something that you can use from the picture to help us find H and K? We do know that there's a point here, okay? Look carefully. They indicate a point on the parabola. So we know that there is a point located at, what is this point? Where is it located? 418. So we know a point, which is x and y. We know A, and we know a point. Right now, we know x and y, but we don't know two values. We don't know h and k. We can't solve for two unknown values, right? You can only solve for one unknown value. So let's look back at the diagram, at the picture here, the graph. Is there any other information you can point out on this graph? Yes, steps, good. We know that this parabola intercepts the x-axis at 2 points here. What are those 2 points? What are the 2 x-intercepts? What are the x-intercepts? Where does it hit the x-axis? What's this point here? 3. And what's the second point? Where else does it hit the x-axis? 13, good. Why would the x-intercepts help me find something with the vertex? What do you think? Excellent. If you know the x-intercepts, then we can find the axis of symmetry, okay? Because the axis of symmetry runs directly in the middle, oops, that's, sorry, not very straight, is directly in the middle of the vertex. If you know the axis of symmetry, then what value of the vertex do you know? The h, right? If you know the axis of symmetry, you just did this on your quiz, you know the h value of the vertex. The axis of symmetry goes through the vertex. Okay, so let's find the axis of symmetry. How do we find the axis of symmetry, which is the midpoint of the x-intercepts? You said it earlier. 3 plus 13 divided by 2. Good. What's 3 plus 13? 16. What's 16 divided by 2? 8. So x equals 8, which means that h is equal to 8. Okay, so now I know h, I know a, I know x and y. Can we find k? Yeah. Okay, so do we know a? -2, good. The question told us what it was stretched by. Do we know h? We just found that it was 8. It was the axis of symmetry. Do we know k? No, we don't know where the vertex is located. We don't know k. Do we know x and y, a point? 4 and 18. Okay, so we were given a point on the graph. Now we need to plug in all of these values. Okay, we're going to plug in y, a, x, h. We're going to find k. That way we can write our equation of this parabola. Okay, so plug them all in. Okay, so 18 equals, what's a? 2. -2. What's x? 4 minus, what's h? 8. Squared, and we don't know k, so let's just write plus k. Okay, same thing. Use BEDMAS to simplify, and then we're going to isolate our variable. So 18 is equal to -2. What's 4 take away 8? -4 squared plus k. So we just finished with our brackets. Do we have exponents? Yes. Okay, so we'll do that next. 18 equals -2. What's -4 squared? 16. Good. Plus k. Now what? Now we're going to do negative 2 minus 16, good, equals negative 32 plus k. And the final step, Miriam? Bring the negative 32 to the other side, it becomes, good, equals to k. So what is k equal to? 50. Excellent. Okay, so now we know k. What was the question asking? To determine the quadratic relation in vertex form. Now that I know k, we figured out h, and we're given a. What is this equation in vertex form written as?
Negative 2 bracket x minus 8
Good.
squared plus 50.
Awesome.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.